Welcome in, everybody. It is a Tuesday night here. Welcome to the Joe Quill Show. And I warned you, I was bringing this out tonight. And you can pronounce it. I won't. I'll let you see if your hooked on phonics skills work tonight or not. But it's Tuesday night. The Phillies are in Boston. So I had to wear the shirt. So hope everybody's doing well out there. And yep, I am a little crazier than normal tonight, but I got a great show here tonight, and regular crowd's going to start coming in here as we go on here. So, as you can see there on the bottom of the screen, there we have um, everything that we have planned for tonight. We have JT going down to an injury. We have the Madden 25 cover boy announced. Um, Joey Chestnut, his dynasty is over apparently, and whatever comes up between now and when I close things up here tonight. So Tuesday night, I'm finally off tomorrow. Had 6 days in a row. How I survived, I don't know, because it was the new moon, and that's when everybody who's stupid wants to come out of the woodwork and drive you up a wall. But I survived. I persevered, and we're going to get through this here as well. So, but this is fun, and that's why I'm wearing this shirt. And all right, I'll say it for those that are listening on the podcast. And by the way, uh, download. I'm sorry, wherever you get podcasts, look for the Joe Quill Show. And the logo is basically the same as this. And I'm going to pop this on here for about 2 seconds for those that are watching. Look for that logo, and you will find my show. So, and it's not hard to find because how many Joe Quillen shows are there out there? Zero, other than mine. Um, so we did have some technical difficulties last night, and last night we did not get. I did not do the audio yet. So I'm gonna play around with that tomorrow morning. I got things to do in the afternoon before I go out tomorrow night. So I will get that all caught up. Um, but wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Spotify, uh, Twitter, Jesus God, um, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon, you name it, subscribe, and it will be on Apple Podcasts soon. I think it is. I need 5 episodes, and I think the two that I will upload will be five. So I will give you guys a heads up when that is available to you. Um, so even if you can't make it live, I make it easy for you to watch after the fact because we are on, as I said here at the beginning of the show here, I post this every night. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and X, all at Joe Quills, and it's available to you wherever you want to watch, wherever you want to listen, and trying to grow the fan base here because we're eventually going to be going to that fourth night, and that fourth night is going to be probably the middle of July, and when that is the case, look out. So because it will be part of Bleacher Brothers, and I will be streaming both on Bleacher Brothers and here. Um, but it will be we it just got to figure things out on how to do it. So, anyways, um, for those that are the religious viewers, I started a couple of minutes late tonight, and my walls are basically paper thin. And I kind of felt like Eddie Murphy for a second because I heard that ice cream truck because it's that time of the year here in Philadelphia where you're going to have that ice cream truck driving around it. So And of course, it comes by at about 8:55, and somebody across the street wanted ice cream. Okay, no problem. And I don't know how many people it was, but when you're waiting for 9 o'clock, you want to start on time. And thankfully, with me using my own Twitch and all that other stuff, I don't have to worry about being on time. I can be a couple of minutes late if I want to, and then it just kept going and going and going. Thankfully, it was only about 5 minutes late, I think. So we're about 7 minutes in. So we're about 7 minutes late. So um, it just happens that way. So, but um, but we're here, and we're gonna start the show off here and get everything that I want to talk about here tonight on this Tuesday night. And and I got a reply from somebody. Are you on tonight? And I should have said, but I didn't want to be a smartass. I should have just said, just copied the link from my tweet that I posted like an hour before. And when you're on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it this week, um, you know, um, it, it's just the way it is. Um, so I ended up um, just replying to it, and what did I say exactly here? Because um, um, oh yeah, I said yes, and I had a surprise, and the surprise was this T-shirt because the Phillies are in Boston right now. They're up 4-1 after 8 innings, and stupid me thought, flying back from London, JT's out for a few weeks at least. I thought, perfect day to lose a game. But Phillies are up 4-1 right now, going into the ninth inning here. Phillies looking to win game number 46 or whatever it is. I lost track already. Um, but um, we'll get to more about that in a second here. So, um, and it does look like and the Phillies could be an inning away from being up 10 games in the division because the Braves lost again tonight at Baltimore. So look out for the Phillies. They're trying to pull away here, but we'll see. But um, so we got some news today that uh, wasn't all that fun to hear, um, but JT Realmuto is on the IL. He is going to have what they're calling a meniscec- meniscectomy or whatever. Good luck pronouncing that word. Basically, he's having meniscus surgery, and they put him on the 10-day disabled list today. Um, so this is an injury that he's had all year, and you know, I guess it's better to have the injury and the um, I guess it's better to have the surgery now because everything's going the Phillies' way. And from what we see so far tonight, same thing. They're finding ways to win, and it's next man up, and the next man up is coming up big, and you know it's you're really starting to see a team that has the probably the best chemistry in baseball. They everything they do, I mean, is great. And you're going to start getting some players back this week because um, Trey Turner might be back this weekend. Um, Brandon Marsh may be back this weekend. So be interesting to see what the Phillies do um, because you're probably going to send Johan Rojas down, which I'm okay with. Um, get him back on track and, just The one thing I would say to him as a manager, I would say, hey, listen, go down there, hit the ball, and you'll be fine. You'll come back. You know, get your mindset. Get everything set up. Because remember, he jumped from Double A to the majors last July. He jumped 2 levels, and you know, a lot of players. I mean, there aren't a lot of players that jump 2 levels like that. And he did well early on. And once you start getting a book on him, getting to see those tendencies on video, now you start attacking him. And just like any other scouting report, any other sport, it's a copycat sport. So, you know, pound them in, do the same thing over and over again. And, it may even be, who knows, maybe it's even mental on top of it because of the fact that you do have a guy who's so young. And, if you tell him that he's going back down and you turn it into, hey, this is what we want you to do. Let's work on a few things. Everything works out right. You'll be back before you know it. That's what I would tell him. But then the question is, what do you do when the second guy comes back? Now, do you want to take David Dahl and put him on and DFA him again? Uh, you know, I mean, that's the thing with this team. It's most Phillies teams over the last 10, 15 years, you've had players saying, I mean, you had fans saying, oh, DFA this guy, DFA that guy. You don't have that this year. You got you got a tough as hell decision here. And Bank Boy, welcome in. Hope you're doing well out there. So you're going to have a very tough decision here. You got to figure out who's going to be that second guy that goes down. Because Rojas is a no-brainer because he has options. You'll be using his first option this year because you get 3 options, and it's one per year. Even though you may send him down 5 times, but you just try to keep the chemistry going here, and you can tell the guys love playing the game of baseball with each other, and they're doing well. And I'm thrilled with everything that's going on here. So, um, but but you know, you kind of now that you're looking back about 48 hours later, a little over 48 hours later, it kind of made sense now why JT Realmuto was pinch run for in the ninth inning of that second game in London. It makes sense now because of the fact that he ended up on the DL, and he must have been really hurting to be taken out of the game because I think it was John Kruk, and whoever said this, if I'm not quoting the right person, so be it, but I'm making the attempt. They compared him to Darren Daulton. Darren Daulton was one of the toughest catchers and one of the toughest Phillies in Phillies history. And I really think that's a good comparison. Um, but I really don't. I mean, like Dave Dombrowski said today, and I saw his interview, his impromptu press conference in Boston. He basically said that if you're going to get it done now. Especially with the fact that the Phillies are an inning away from having a 10-game lead in the division. Um, I would have never thought that would have happened, but um, you do have some wiggle room here, but you got that next man up mentality, and they are going to win games for you. And part of the reason why the reason why it was announced today is because from what I heard on the Phillies telecast while I was working, when I'm working, I had the volume down. I had it loud enough that I could hear it, but you know, it's almost like a church. I mean, it's like a whisper in church. Uh, you could hear anything, but it's real low. They said that he wanted to play in London, so um, so I understand that, and like Dave Dombrowski said, let's get it done now. Let's get you fixed up so we can have you for the stretch run. And who knows? Maybe that stretch run is basically, um, maybe that stretch run is just a 15, 20 game lead in the division for all we know. Or it may be that Atlanta comes back, which I would not be surprised by. And, you know, you, and the thing is with me, the thing is, the one reason why I'm glad I am not on regular sports radio is the fact that you have a team that is up going to be up 10 games probably by the end of the night, barring any miracle by the Red Sox. Things have been going too well for the Phillies this year. Even when Trey Turner went down, Sosa comes right in. I mean, Garrett Stubbs, he's an okay catcher, but he's not. He's obviously not JT. But I would. Thankfully, it's not, and we don't think it's that long of an injury. I've heard he's going to be out a month. I saw another article said he'd be out 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I wrote on my notes here 4 to 8 weeks. I just meshed the two together. Um, that's a big blow for the Phillies, but um, if you follow me on Twitter, aka X, I did try to start some trouble today. I wanted to see if um, somebody would respond to it, but they actually agreed with me. The one thing I said this afternoon, I'm pulling it up here. Um, Let me go back to my regular posts here, not my replies. Um, Here it is. I found the picture of the press release. I posted it, and I said, "This is why you get Real Muto out from the dish as soon as getting him out of the dish is necessary from behind the dish. As much as we all love Bryce Harper, things got a little effed up last off season, and basically." Harper played first because of necessity, because of the fact that um, Rhys Hoskins last year blew out his knee. Now, I don't know physical situation of Harper. Is he able to throw long distances without any problems? I mean, he's about 18 months removed from his surgery. Maybe he can throw. Because no two people heal up the same way, whether it's a Tommy John, whether it's a meniscus surgery, any type of surgery, any type of an illness, even. But I would have preferred Bryce Harper going back to right field. And I've said this quite a few times. I feel like the best thing for the Phillies, even though it does put Kyle Schwarber on the field, and he is a detriment on the field. So, you want to argue that with me, I have no problems with you saying that to me. But the one thing I would have done if I were the manager, I would rotate that designated hitter and use that as a day off without it being a day off. Like you can rotate it between um, Kyle Schwarber, uh, Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner if you wanted to, Alex Bohm if you wanted to, JT if you wanted to. You got 5 or 6 people you can use it for, and you can use it without losing a guy in the in the lineup. But things. I mean, the way the Phillies are built, you can use any guy as a designated hitter, even though they're pre um, pre Universal DH. They were the guy that they were the team that they were built like an American League team that would bash balls like crazy. But the one thing is with this Phillies team is I've seen a lot more situational hitting this year. It isn't always going for the 3-run homer. Now, granted, you only scored 4 runs tonight, but guess what? You had Zach Wheeler on the mound. You only needed to get 2 runs tonight, but you got 4 so far. So, and this is a good game for Jose Alvarado to get on track after blowing that game on Sunday. And who knows? Maybe because of the fact that the mound there is a temporary pitcher's mound, maybe he had an issue with it, unlike other pitchers, because some pitchers will have problems, some pitchers will not. Some players will have a hard time fielding fly balls because of the views that they would have. Some were having issues, some were not. But um, but this is a dangerous team here. Um, I think they started off around plus 1,500 to win the World Series. Wish I jumped all over it. But, part of me was saying, no, too low, too low. But, I'm not going to see 1,500 again for my Phillies over the next 5 years, probably. Uh, but, but JT goes on the IL. It looks like it's 4 to 8 weeks. I'm putting that time frame out there because um, the announcers for the Phillies, Tom McCarthy said it's a 1 month thing. I saw 6 to 8 on one website, so who knows? But whatever it is, hopefully it gets back sooner rather than later, and hopefully that lead is about 15 to 20 games because um, the Phillies are rolling here since since they started off 8-8. Colorado and Chicago came to town and everything took off. Sometimes it's just a little bit of confidence that you need, and that's what they needed apparently. And once you get going, it's hard to stop. But the thing is, I'm being cautiously optimistic with the Phillies. I explained it to my buddies a couple of times. I said, listen, as much as I want to see, as much as I just want to say, I'll see you in November at the parade. And I might have said that to a couple of people already, but it's out of town people, and I'm saying it as a joke. And some people will know that I joke around about certain things. Um, but um, but this is going to be a tough team to beat. I mean, you got some tough games coming up. This is a tough week. Um, the Phillies rarely play well in Boston, but they're playing well tonight. Then you got to go to Baltimore, which, dare I say, a World Series preview. I think I said Phillies and Braves in the World Series, but I don't know. But I got I got good feelings about this team, but I know that there's going to be a 3, 4, 5 game losing streak coming up. I know it. It's not. I'm not wishing it on anybody. I'm not wishing it on the team. And if it happens, don't blame me and don't come to me saying, "Oh, you jinxed the team." No, I didn't jinx the team. It's just the way that baseball is because you got 162 games and you're not going to play 700 ball all year. You're going to drop down towards 600. It just happens. But, you know, the more you win now, the less you have to win in September when those games seem to matter a little bit more as the month progresses, even though in all actuality, each game is 1/162nd of a season. But um, it's this is a great time to be a Philly sports fan. Flyers are on the way up. Eagles are contenders. Um, the Sixers are, you know, we'll see what happens in the offseason here as they get ready for this upcoming year. And the Phillies are going to be a major contender this year unless the wheels totally come off. I don't think they come off, but I would not be surprised if there's a bump in the road every now and then. And that's fine because that's baseball. What you do is you make sure that that does not happen in the long term. So JT's out for at least a month, but he will be back and hopefully back um, back behind the plate, back to normal. And we see here um, a goofy play there that led to a wild pitch, which led to a throwing error, and the runner goes to third base here. But I do want to address one thing here. Part of the reason why last night's audio has not been posted is because that there were streaming issues last night. Um, I think the issue was on my end. It may have been Twitch. It may have been EV Bucks, the distributor I use. It could have been a couple of different things, but whatever it was, um, I did do a little something different here tonight. So, um, and if there's any issues, let me know in the chat. And I think everything is okay right now. Um, but so that video, if it's, I'm gonna watch that video tomorrow morning or late tonight. I don't know, but I am off from work tomorrow, so I can stay up if I can stay awake. Um, but either way, if you're an audiophile, AUDIOPHILE, and you like listening to podcasts, um, search for the Joe Quill Show on any podcast platform. It'll be on Apple soon, and you know, don't be obliged to have to come in. Even though SJ had to come in tonight because she said, "Aren't you streaming tonight?" And I say hello to SJ's back. Well, hi. So, um, so yeah, there's the shirt, SJ. I think you've seen this shirt a couple of times before, but I had to wear it because the Phillies are in Boston for the next couple of nights. Uh, but, but I will tell you this. Um, um, but just having fun here. You know me. I'd like to goof around and have some fun. And with the podcast, um, give give a give a follow to the Joe Quill Show wherever you get podcasts. Apple will be up shortly. I think it's just because I don't have 5 audio files yet. But anyways, on to the next story. And I was disappointed to hear that SJ is not going to be on the cover of Madden 25. Yeah, she likes my shirt. She likes my sense of humor. And she has a call in 10, but I'm her. I know she means I'm here, but I know what she means. So, just me being myself, and by the way, Phillies win 4-1, and my bet loses because I decided with everything with coming from London and everything, but um, the shirt is golden. Actually, it's blue and red. um, Actually, I got this shirt, and for those that are listening, even though I probably shouldn't say it because somebody will get their panties in a bunch. It says Boston Sox Cack, and I got it at a mom and pop store across the street from Yankee Stadium. My one buddy at work is a Yankees fan, but he's also a Phillies fan, so whatever. He's also down at the Rolling Stone show tonight, so thank God. Um, but he doesn't watch my show, so I can talk about him a little bit. But um, he's a Yankees fan, he's a Phillies fan, and then he'll tell me, you know, like Kyle Schwarber will hit a home run in the first inning. He'll go, "I told you so." Schwarber would hit a home run. I was like, "You didn't say shit to me, buddy." You know, little things like that. But anyways, so I was disappointed that SJ is not going to be on the cover of the next Madden game. I'm disappointed I'm not on the cover. I'm disappointed Bank Boy's not on the cover. But I hear SJ is going to get into a cheerleader's outfit for us. But for the game, not for me personally. But um, and Bank Boy wants a petition for the Madden game. I'm all for it. Or maybe it's to have SJ as a cheerleader on the game. But anyways, it was announced this morning. I saw it on the scroll, either watching the Dan Levitard show or watching a replay that the Pat McAfee show. Christian McCaffrey is your poster boy this year, and the Madden curse isn't what it used to be. But as an Eagles fan, I kind of hope that the curse starts to creep back into the world. Ha 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 ha. But he is the cover athlete this year, and um, he's the first 49er since the game switched to featuring players on the cover in 2000. So Jerry Rice never was, Colin Kaepernick never was, Roger Craig, Joe Montana, Steve Young. Nobody's been that cover boy from the 49ers. McCaffrey is the first, and rightfully so, because he is probably the best non-quarterback or wide receiver in the game right now. And it just seems like he's not stopping anytime soon, because usually with the running backs, you get your 4 or 5 years in, the team will run them into the ground, and then it's like, okay, see you later. But it just seems like that's not the case here. He keeps going forward and he keeps winning, and he keeps producing numbers. He got to his first Super Bowl this year, and you could see him. Who knows? Maybe he once again gets lucky and doesn't have to deal with the jinx. But I'm not rooting it on him, even though I did say as an Eagles fan. But away from that, you don't want to wish that on anybody. But when I saw this article today and I looked at it tonight, um, he's very philanthropic. Um, he's been a long fan of video games as well. He used to recall playing Nintendo 64 way back when. Of the 2001 game with his brothers, Max, Dylan, and Luke. Not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but uh, but he would play the Denver Broncos and exclusively throw the ball to the digital version of his father, Ed McCaffrey, and fellow receiver Rod Smith. Um, Madden has played a prominent role in his philanthropic efforts. His foundation hosts the Logan Bowl, which features NFL players competing against one another in games of Madden. So think of the Madden Bowl, except it's run by him. The tournament raises money for the Logan Project, which launched in 2022 and works to provide gaming consoles and games to children's hospitals all over the country. So, it sometimes it takes this to turn yourself from, oh, that mother effer, he never he always gets 10 yards on our defense and blah blah blah. It turns from that to, oh, listen to all the stuff that he does here. So um it is a real good thing that he does here. And it kind of makes me not it makes me want to hate him a little less because he wears the San Francisco uniform. You know, you don't have to deal with, I mean, you do hear, oh, he's a Niners fan. He plays for the Niners. You got to deal with the Niners fans who fight more than the Eagles fans, but the Eagles fans will get all the stuff thrown at them for no reason. People are still hung up on Santa Claus from the '60s. You know, getting hit with snowballs. By the way, he did deserve it because he was drunk out of his mind. But um, but good for him that he got to be on the cover. He's the first running back since Adrian Peterson and Barry Sanders in 2013, and the first non-quarterback since Antonio Brown in 2018. Ugh. But Antonio Brown has had the Madden jinx of life because once he took that hit from Perfect in the playoffs a few years ago, he has not been right ever since. And some hits, it's just boom. It's like you pop back up. Even if it's a couple of weeks later, you're ready to go again. Antonio Brown has not been the same since that hit, and some people could say that you know he literally knocked a couple of screws loose, not just one. And Antonio Brown, we know he has all kinds of legal issues and stuff like that, but we don't want to wish that on anybody, especially Christian McCaffrey, who turns out to be even more of a good dude. And that's, I mean, if you want a guy on a cover, it looks like he's the guy you want for that. So good for him. Some of the things he did say today, he said it's really humbling. I feel really grateful because obviously stuff like this is a testament to my teammates, my coaches, the people who have helped me um, to be in the position to have success. And so I really feel grateful for that. Um, it's such a cool milestone for me to be on the cover. I think of the players that have helped me along the way. And obviously, being the first 49ers player is really humbling when you think about how many greats have planned for this organization. Definitely feel very fortunate. So, he's, you know, he's definitely not going to, um, he's definitely earned it. And he's got everything going for him right now. He recently signed a 2-year, $38 million extension. He celebrated his 28th birthday recently, and he's getting married in a couple of weeks to a supermodel. At least I think she's a supermodel. So, but everything's going right for him. And also, it's not about him; it's about everybody else that's helped him to get to that point. So, it isn't like he's some egomaniacal player who says it's about me, because you can tell that he was brought up the right way, and you can't, you know, and I'm sure everybody would be hating on Christian McCaffrey if he was an Eagle, because everybody hates the Eagles, even SJ, even though she's probably not listening. She's on her call at the moment, um, but when you look at this article, it just seems like he's got himself in a perfect. He's got his he's in touch with reality. Just because he's a football player, you know, it's he shows that he's the ultimate team player, even off of the field, and also doing the charitable work here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a Walter Payton Man of the Year in the next couple of years as well. But good for him. and that's definitely something that um, is well noted. So, um, one thing I am going to do here is I'm not going to take a break, but we're going to take a break from the topics here. We're going to take a peek at the scoreboard here tonight. Um, so, um, and this is definitely something that will probably come when I do the show 4 nights a week and it's on Bleacher Brothers and all that. So I guarantee you somebody's going to be doing the scores. It's not going to be me. But but earlier finals, Orioles knocked off the Braves 4-0. Um, Braves are in a tailspin. Washington won again. They defeated the Tigers 5-4. The Rays beat the Cubs 5-2 at Tropicana Field. Like I said before, the Phillies won 4-1 in Boston. They now have a 10-game lead in the division. Unbelievable. Um, Top of the ninth, Guardians lead the Reds 4-2. Top of the ninth in Miami, I'm sorry, in Flushing, Marlins are up 3-2. Rockies are up 5-2 on the Twins, bottom of the eighth in Minnesota. Pirates and Cardinals, no score uh, in the top of the ninth, no score. Yankees are up 7-0 on the Royals. I wonder if SJ is paying attention to the Yankees yet. Um, Blue Jays are up 2-0 on the Brewers. Angels and Diamondbacks are just underway, no score after the top half of the first. White Sox are in Seattle, no score, bottom of the first. The Athletics get a run in the first inning against San Diego. Astros and Giants just started, no score, bottom of the first. And Rangers and Dodgers will start in about 20 minutes. So that's your scoreboard right now, presented by absolutely no one, just me. So, um, just check out. Here's an idea. Check out the Bleacher Brothers website for all your sports needs. BleacherBrothers.com. And my article for tomorrow will be a race from Delaware Park, and I'm still ice cold with my featured races somehow. Just the way things go sometimes, just kind of like baseball, where sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold. Now, I know SJ saw this. At least I think I saw it because it did pop up on my X page. Um, and I also had a question because just a goofy question where I would joke around and say, "Oh yeah, is a hot dog a sandwich?" 610-632, which is the beginning of the telephone number for 97.5 The Fanatic. It's a little running joke that we had, and they're showing a couple of different times today, and it was at the end of off base on MLB Network in the 4 o'clock hour. They showed a dog at some Bark at the Park thing, and by the way, Bark at the Park is the dumbest promotion ever. Um, but they showed a dog eating a hot dog, and I asked this question, and I didn't post it on any social media because it'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? But um, I would ask you, if a dog eats a hot dog, is he a cannibal? Okay, it's not an actual dog that he's eating, but play on words. But one person who will not be at Coney Island this year is Joey Chestnut. The dynasty is over because he has decided to sign a 4-year deal. Um, I think, well, I don't think it says it here, but He signed a deal with Impossible Foods, a company that makes plant-based hot dogs, and it's a competing company to Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs. So, um, and the article, the title says it's banned, and and the reason why is pretty much um, pretty easy to figure out. But he will not compete on the Fourth of July. Um, a spokesperson for Major League Eating said that Chestnut has chosen to represent another hot dog brand and therefore would not be allowed to participate in the Nathan's contest, which is held annually at New York City's Coney Island. He won the event 8 years in a row, 16 times overall, and um, ESPN, where I got this article from, reached out to Chestnut and Impossible Foods for comment. From what I see, there was none. Um, but Major League Eating said in a statement that we are devastated to learn of his that he has chosen to represent a rival brand that sells plant-based hot dogs rather than competing in the Nathan's Famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. MLE and Nathan's went to great lengths in recent months to accommodate Joey and his management team, agreeing to the appearance fee and allowing Joey to compete in a rival unbranded dog eating contest on Labor Day. For nearly 2 decades, we have worked under the same basic hot dog exclusivity provisions. However, it seems that Joey and his managers have prioritized a new partnership with a different hot dog brand over our long-time relationship. Now, I don't know if he's going vegan or anything. Whatever, do whatever you want. You don't come after me for eating meat. I won't come after you for being a vegan. I respect your decision. You respect mine. We all live in harmony. But I'm the type of person where I'm just going to sit there and I've had vegan food one time, and it was probably about, or knowingly I should say, and it was about maybe 7 or 8 years ago when the old manager was still in our office. And she goes, I'm just foraging the food because we had a little luncheon in the office in the conference room. She goes, "Is that good?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, it's vegan or vegetarian, whatever word she used." And I said, "You wouldn't even know." And I'm not going to judge anybody on that, but it's amazing what they do to things like this, even. But um, but some of the things that Joey Chestnut has done, see, doesn't. I mean, everything he does is amazing. Um, it makes me proud to say that I haven't walked into a bathroom after he's done one of these contests, because you know how they say in Friday, don't go in there for another 35 to 45 minutes. Don't go in there for another 35 to 45 hours, I would imagine. But I mean, he owns the top 10 performances in the hot dog eating contest, including a record 76 hot dogs and buns in 2021. He had 62 last year at one. But, you know, I mean, what goes in must come out. And, ugh. But um, now, here's a little something that I question here. Joey Chestnut is an American hero. He's a hero because he can eat a shit ton of hot dogs and other things. But, you get the idea. We would love nothing more, Emily said, we would love nothing more than to have him at Nathan's famous international hot dog eating contest, which he has dominated for years. We hope that he returns when he is not representing a rival brand. So, obviously, because he's on this rival brand, get out. You know, and impossible brands, they're not going anywhere. Um, you know, this isn't like um, some of the fad things that come up every now and then, and you get used to seeing certain things in the store, and a couple of months later, it's like, what'd you do to that product? Oh, they discontinued it already. But you get the idea. So, but this has got to be. I mean, if you want to call eating major league eating a sport, I mean, it is governed by a governing body. Um, is this one of the is this one of the greatest dynasties in competition? Even if it's even if it is not a sport, because I don't know. I mean, is gluttony a sport? I mean, that's a great question that we can ask here. Is this really a sport or not? But either way, it has to be a dynasty because it isn't just hot dogs that he holds world records in. He holds many world records for all different types of foods. And I do not think I don't think he ever tried Wing Bowl before they stopped doing that event on WIP. And if he did, don't come at me. You know, it's just that I don't listen to WIP or 97.5 because everything is scripted. You know, everything is, especially on some networks. Oh, we gotta get back to the Eagles, but um, this has got to be um, one of the greatest dynasties, right? I mean, even if it even if it isn't a sport, right? Because my God, you could. I mean, it wasn't that he was winning every year; he was destroying everything, and he was destroying the bathroom afterwards. But I really think that this is a changing of the guard, and you're going to see in this year, the next year, it's you're going to hear um, you're going to see, for example, somebody says so and so only ate 45 hot dogs only, and Mike is here. Competitive eating, my house at Thanksgiving. Oh man, but you know, but is it a sport? Is it not a sport? I don't know. But either way, you got to admit, somebody that wins event after event after event after event, and whatever he did, he's doing it right. I mean, because it isn't like he's some 500-600 pound slob. I mean, he's a average sized human being. It's just that he's able to wolf all that stuff down, and he has a way of doing things in a way that he wins. And it's just an amazing thing that he's done. And I mean, I don't know if he's actually turning into a vegan or it's just, oh, I'm just looking for money beyond the money that I get for appearance fees and stuff like that. Who knows? Um, but it is a record that probably will not be broken in competitive eating, whether you consider it a sport or not. Because think about it, he won 16 times. He's won the last 8 events on the 4th of July. I mean, it's just crazy some of the numbers he has, and then you look at his body type, and it's like, how's he doing that? But I guess, you know, but so that is that story there. So, um, and Mike, just to let you know, I did change the internet connection around a little bit. Um, Mike says because he eats Nathan's hot dogs does not mean he works for him. Yeah, I agree. But do you really want a guy who is promoting a rival brand at an event where you see the brand Nathan's all over the place? And, they have a right to allow into their contest whoever they want. And I hope I even forget why Kobayashi was banned from Nathan's. Um, but in this case, um, I just really think that I really think that they made the right decision, because you can't. You would be forced to, but you know, you have to you have to promote the brand, and this is more than just a hot dog eating contest. It's also a 60-minute commercial on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN8, the Ocho, whatever it is, just to make sure, hey, it's Nathan's hot dogs. Now, granted, I'm a Nathan's fries guy more than a hot dog guy, but you know, I mean, it's kind of like how the live golfers were all banned from regular golf tournaments. Now, this weekend, they'll be back in force at the U.S. Open, the ones that qualified. So, um, but that starts on Thursday. It's at Pinehurst. Um, Tiger Woods is going to be playing in it for the first time in a few years, and be careful, all you Perkins waitresses, because he's on the prowl. And one person that will not be on the prowl is Rory McIlroy. And I know what you're saying. No, Joe, he's at the event. He's going to play. I know that. The reason why he's not on the prowl is because he and his wife resolved their differences and their divorces off. Um, an attorney representing the four-time major champion filed a motion on Tuesday to voluntarily dismiss a divorce petition that was filed on the golfer's behalf in Florida last month. So, um, you know, I've heard rumors, different things going on. I'm not even going to give them the light of day. Even I was thinking, you see, there's A, B, and C over here. There's C, B, and S here. There's M, B, and C here. And you try to connect the dots, and you're probably connecting the wrong dots and everything. And um, best not to have that, because, and me especially not saying it, because the last thing I need is a call from AJ saying, "Did you say this about him?" Well, now we got a lawyer involved giving us a bunch of crap. You know, you try to be a little bit of a um, be a little vague with it, and also, but there are some things I thought about, but um, you know, but um, he's going to try to end a 10-year drought without a major championship at this week's U.S. Open, which starts Thursday at Pinehurst, number 2. No, it's not number two, as in what Joey Chestnut does to destroy the entire building that his hotel is in. Uh, it's just the name of the course. Um, but there was um, and ironically, 3 days before the PGA Championship, there was a petition filed. So I'm guessing days before the Open Championship over in the UK, I guess he'll have another petition. But but he met his wife at the 2012 Ryder Cup. They started dating 2 years later, according to this. Um, After he had ended his relationship with tennis star Caroline Wozniacki, and he was married in 2017. So, um, you know, but when you got kids like he does, that's the worst thing, and blah blah blah. So, so Mike, I think I solved the internet issue, and I think it was more on my end than it was Twitch or EV Mux or anything like that. So, um, and it was the first time that it's happened since I've used this platform. So, I think it's just a one. I think it was just a one-time thing. I did go up over and beyond here because I haven't even had issues when I was doing my Saturday show, also eligible. And for those that are um, wondering what that is, that's a Saturday horse racing show where I look at some of the races with AJ Johnson. Um, and this week, it looks like we're going to do the races from Monmouth Park. They have the um, Haskell preview day, and basically what it is, it's going to be 4 or 5 different races, and those 4 or 5 races will feed into a race that fits that age and sex category. So, and Mike says he can hear and see me. So, um, but for those that are watching, those that are listening, um, we also put this to a podcast form and distribute it out. Um, I'm going to do for those that are wondering. I am going to test that video out late tonight or tomorrow morning. I got a couple of things to do in the afternoon before I head up to the Pennypack Music Festival. Um, we'll see if there's any issues with that video, because if it's not any real issue on my end, uh, you may be able to get that. Um, you may be able to get that listen as an audio only, because I do that because you know maybe somebody says, "Hey Joe, I missed your show from last week. You were talking about this." I'll be like, "Hey, you can just get that audio podcast, or you can find a video, or maybe there's a week where the video's so bad that it's like, oh, bleep this." And uh, that wasn't your back; that was your fingers that talked there, SJ. Uh, but um, but the whole gang's here. Bank Boy's here. SJ's here. Mike's here. The one thing I will say is, um, I distribute everything out, and I did do some looking last yesterday. Um, Now I said that I can distribute to 3 different platforms with this plan that I have. I was wrong, and Mike will say this: I am not wrong often. And Mike will probably laugh at me and call me a Mr. Cranium. But I found out that I can actually stream to 4 platforms at the same time. So, but I'm going to keep it at 3 for now, um, because I want to. I mean, it's a good way to get more viewers, and maybe you get lucky and somebody stumbles upon it one night and be like, this guy ain't so bad. And Mike is actually agreeing with me for once, and he says I'm not wrong often. Well, you didn't see my horse racing plays today. Uh, yeah, today was not a good day on the horses. I should have just stayed with everything, um, but I was in control of my money. I didn't lose too much today. Uh, but but um, I have one question, and maybe SJ can respond to this. And um, you know, uh, one question I have is um, that Porzingis injury. Um, Apparently, that was a rectum injury because it damn near killed him. I had to do that, but people are falling by flies this time of the year, and rightfully so. I mean, Porzingis does have an injury history. He's got a rare leg injury, apparently. Um, um, he's got a rare injury to his left leg, and is officially questionable for Game 3. Um, um, I felt something, and now I have to deal with it. I'm trying to see what the term they used is here. Um, and I'm sure SJ probably typed it 4 times already in the chat while I'm not looking at the chat box that I'm looking at usually. Uh, he's got a torn medial retinaculum, allowing a dislocation to the posterior uh, tib- tibialis tendon in his left leg. So uh, Mike says he needs to stop doing the hokey pokey. I stopped for a while, but then I started back up and it turned myself around. but but that was a um, but it was a strange injury. Um, but either way, and then Luka Doncic is playing injured. Apparently, he took an injection before Game 2, and he's going to take another one before Game 3. Um, from what I saw today, but Luka's all banged up. Um, Luka took a pain killing shot before Game 2. It was a there was a pain killing injection to numb his thoracic contusion before Dallas lost to the Celtics. The expectation is he'll receive another injection before Wednesday's Game 3. The Mavs will attempt to get their first win of the series. Doncic is listed as probable for Wednesday's game. Um, Doncic quoted James Brown. He said, "I feel good." Da na 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 na. But this time of year, it doesn't matter what sport it is. You are going to be beat the f up, and especially a guy who has to carry the team just to keep them in games. And you know, none of this surprises me. It's just you just wonder is is Porzingis one injury away from missing the rest of the series and next year, and is Luca an injury away from something major? And it's basketball. Even though I criticize them for um, for load management and stuff like that, this is where things matter, and they're going to play any way possible. Um, and SJ is a Celtics fan. She said, "Poor KP," and um, he is. This time of the year, everybody's beat up, If you're not injured, it means you sat on the bench the whole year or you're the ball boy. Um, and it is a rare injury. I did say that. And, I even made a joke of it. I said it was a rectum injury, not a retina something or other. It was a rectum injury and it damn near killed him. But, uh, but it is it's just that time of the year, and it's, you know, the season's almost over. And, you know, the season's almost over, and and the Lakers still do not have a head coach because Dan Hurley is going back to UConn. I thought I saw today that they're working on a 6 for 50 deal for UConn. Now, um, thing is with Dan Hurley, his wife is an East Coast girl, East Coast woman, I should say. Because some people will hear girl and say, don't you dare call her a girl. She's a woman. She's like 50 some years old. Dude, it's just a generic thing, but you get the idea. So, and I said last night, and I will say it again tonight because I know SJ was not here. Mike might have heard it. He might not have because of the technical issues last night. Um, you know, maybe in a couple years, maybe in 3, 5 years, whatever, maybe the Boston job opens up for whatever reason. Well, guess what? Even though Boston may interview a little bit differently, he has the experience of going through an NBA interview process. Like, for example, when I was at the MLB Baseball Diversity Summit many years ago, um, SJ would die if Hurley took over the Celtics. Um, SJ will probably die when she takes a look at me in person and then says, ugh, ugh. But, anyways, you know, the one thing I said, and talking about the MLB Diversity Summit years ago, and they don't hold this event anymore for whatever reason, but um, we went out to Arizona, and we had me and a fellow Drexel alum. We crossed paths with a person who was from San Francisco, I think. So we she went over my resume. It's like, you got to change this, you got to change this, you got to change that, and basically rendered my resume useless. So I had an impromptu interview with the Phillies, and it was just to get to know people. And I'll tell you right now, it was my first job interview in 15 to 20 years. And the one thing I will say is, I know what a job interview is like now. Now, granted, it's been about 5 to 10 years since that diversity summit event. I you know, probably be nowhere near what it is now because social media has taken off a million times over just a few years ago. Even back then, the thing is, they're going to look at they're going to look at my Twitter, they're going to look at my Facebook, they're going to look at this and some of it's like, dude, you said this about 10 years ago. And I will argue to this day that things change. You know, do you really believe it? No. Sometimes you just like to talk crap. But but seriously, um, I take it as, even though he didn't take the job, if the Lakers didn't ask for interviewing him, the answer is always no. If you don't do anything with it, but if you look at it in a different perspective than what SJ is, because she is UConn and Boston, and I'm not throwing Boston in there because she's here tonight, because I mentioned it last night, because you only have a few franchises in the NBA which will be the top of the top. So, you know, he's not going to go to Portland, obviously. He's not going to go Sacramento. He's not going to go to Phoenix. We know that. I mean, even if it is 5 years from now, we know he's not going to go west. And, things change, and, he may never get another pro interview because he may not want to do another pro interview. But also with NIL and everything like that, you may get tired of the whole NIL process and say, you know what, I'd rather just coach pros. But it was an intriguing thing that came up over the last few days. It's just that now the Lakers are in a tough position because um, it's about 2 weeks until the NBA draft. Because I know it's before July 1st. It's sometime at the end of the month. And you would figure you would want to coach so you can mesh the idea of how they want to run their offense and defense and their whole philosophy with what Rob Pelinka is doing, what Jeannie Buss is doing. You know, if you're just, you can do plug and play, but I would think that you will want a coach involved that you could have somebody to plug that guy in. But when it comes to Dan Hurley, you know, I don't think he's the coach that is going to be, well, let's compare to another iconic college coach, Larry Brown. I guess you can call him iconic, right? Um, well, we know because he was iconic in the fact that he would go to team after 3 or 4 years. Um, I don't even think that Dan Hurley would even be a rumor to most teams. I would think in about 3 to 5 years, if that Boston job opens up, if he's even in coaching, he may just be totally sick of coaching by then. He just like, I'm retired, kind of like the way Jay Wright did with Villanova. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You may say, you know what, Boston, East Coast, the whole legendary franchise thing, just like the Lakers. The fact that we're on the East Coast, let me interview. And, it may not happen. But I'm just speculating here, thinking, does this, you know, does he coach in the NBA? Who knows? It's a matter of how he wants to deal with NIL. And, he may be, and, I don't know, I don't know how coaches do certain things with NIL, but, he may just be, um, giving it to somebody to work on. Like, okay, you work on NIL, you work on this, you work on recruiting, you work on this. And if you need me to come in a little while, I'll come in and join you. But, at least I would think that. But, um, nothing is really, um, nothing would surprise me at all, except for like if he went to like, next year he went to Detroit. Who the hell would want to go to Detroit? Especially right now, a team that only wins 12 games a year. But you get the idea. I think if you were to get him to leave UConn, and I don't think he will, because he may win 3, he may win 4, he may do the LeBron thing. Not 3, not 4, not 5. I think this may be another Coach K situation where he got the interview, went back. We may be looking at a UCLA type dynasty at UConn, where you see not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, maybe 7 in a row, just like UCLA. Because in some regards, I mean, we saw it with the UConn women's team for many years. You want to go to the best place imaginable. Now, granted, now that you have, and I think Iowa will tumble back down to reality after Caitlin Clark left. Because Iowa came out of nowhere, and then they may have gotten NCAA first. I didn't study pre Caitlin Clark with the NCAA tournament. I barely have enough time to do the things I do, but you know, if you really think about it, South Carolina now with Dawn Staley, by the way, Philly person, um, she's built that South Carolina program up. And I had no problem with her leaving Temple University when she coached there. And I'm not sure if SJ knew that she coached at Temple for a few years. Um, I had no problem with her leaving Temple to go to South Carolina because she had family down there. And you know what? Sometimes family is a big thing. Um, Dawn Staley, the South Carolina coach, she originally coached at Temple and then went to South Carolina and built up that program. So, you know, if you're a top notch player, you want to go to the top notch school. It's just that now you have the added NIL factor. So, I don't know. I mean, be interesting to see what happens to everything here. I mean, you could be looking at a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 year run for UConn for all we know, or they don't do anything. Um, and I agree, college is in shambles, um, and especially with college basketball. College basketball is um, Hurley. College basketball is essentially the minor leagues right now, and it was in shambles before NIL you know because you had the one and dones, and you can't blame the NCAA for the one and dones. You got to blame the fact that, I mean, if you can blame anything, you the only reason why kids cannot go right from high school to the pros is because of the collective bargaining agreement. If the collective bargaining agreement did not say you have to be out of school 1 year before being eligible, every high school kid under the sun will be applying because it's all about socioeconomic class and it's about the cash grab. But you can still do a little bit of a cash grab because you don't necessarily have to go to college. You can go to Europe for a year, you can go anywhere else internationally, or you can play in the G League, which is an option as well, even though the G League Ignite team is no more. So I don't know how they would do that next year. But and like Mike said, Hurley's a great coach, and he gets it from his father, who won numerous high school national championships at St. Anthony's. He's a legend in his own right at the high school level, and decided to stay in high school. And that this may be the same thing with him. Now that he got the what turns out to be his dream job. I mean, I guess we can call it a dream job, SJ, because of the fact that he's won back-to-back titles. Um, I would definitely say that I would not be surprised um, he would be there until he decides to leave on his own to retire. Because, I mean, I'm not saying that he would get interviewed by a pro team again, but if he does go to a pro team, it's going to be an iconic franchise, not, you know, the Detroit Pistons who won 12 games or the Oklahoma City Thunder or whatever. It's going to be an iconic franchise, and you know it may be that he gets the pull to return to college again. And I don't. I mean, even though he's going for, there's rumors that the UConn deal that's in the works is 6 for 50. You know, if you love coaching in college, you don't necessarily need six for you don't necessarily need 6 for 50. You could be happy with 6 for 32, whatever it is. But Mike says, so baseball and hockey have it right and NBA has it wrong. Um, well, hockey's a little weird because they have junior hockey, and kids go to um, they get drafted into these junior leagues at younger years, but they don't get into the NHL until 18, I believe. Baseball, you can go for it. You can go for um, you can be drafted right after high school, but once you step foot on campus, you can't be drafted again for another 3 years, I believe. So, um, but Mike agrees. I think that's about the theory that if he does go to the NBA, it's going to be an iconic franchise, not just some random team where, kind of like what Billy Donovan did when he went to Oklahoma City, I think it was originally. You're not going to go to, or John Calipari going to the Nets many years ago. It's going to be a team like the Celtics or the Lakers. I guess we could still call Bulls legendary, even though they've been on the downside of the last 10 years, even though they've had a couple of playoff appearances here and there, you know. But I would think that um, it's all about the, um, I think it's all about what franchise. And I think that 28 of the 30 franchises is a definite no way in hell. Um, and the Lakers may say no way in hell again, because they realize that his stock is not that Hurley stock may not be any higher than what it is right now, and it may be that it may even be even higher in 3, 4, 5 years. Who knows? But um, but you know that's a great thing here, and there's still a little delay with people type and everything, and sometimes I get to see Mike's. I agree, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Sometimes you get that, but that's a great thing here. We can chat and have fun, and eventually I'll have people on here. Um, you know, SJ will have to dial herself up to be on the stream with me. You know, and Mike, he'll put a bag over his head for me, or I'll put the bag over my head. You know, but people are, and SJ's laughing at me. Um, but you know, that's what it. That's what this is all about. It's about having fun. I'm not going to be someone who, you know, I mean, I can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but we're all in here just to have fun and, talk some stories here and, occasionally get away from things. So, get away from some of the things in the real world. Uh, uh, um, if AD and LeBron are not there in 3 to 5 years, the Lakers will be foolish not to hire Hurley. Well, actually, I would think that they would hire Hurley to have LeBron come back because SJ can confirm this for me. Uh, I see your comment, Mike, there. Um, because I would think that you would try to lure Hurley to come west because you would want LeBron to come back because he is in an option year, and I believe he has not decided on the option yet. Um, and SJ will be my NBA, WNBA source. So, um, and I'm sure she's like, I'm sure she's saying. I'm sure she's saying that that I am a pain in the ass because Mike said, "You a pain in the ass?" Nah, but I believe LeBron is. Uh, I believe that LeBron is does have the option to leave after this at the end of the month. I just uh, I just don't know every contract off the top of my head. I can only retain so much information, unlike what some people think. You know, I'm the type of person where I can remember the sky was blue and blah blah blah. Uh, um, LeBron, LOL. Well, I like to call him LBJ. That's EL space BJ. Just a play on the LBJ name. But um, you know, I really don't. I mean, the one thing is, I really hope he does not come to the Sixers. I mean, as much as we want to see a championship in Philadelphia, I just do not want to see him here. Um, he'll try to run Nick Nurse out of town, just like he's run every coach after a year or two. It seems, and you know, um, he can go kick rocks where I care. Stay in LA, go to the Clippers. I don't care. Uh, and SJ says, "Ew, Philly," but that's SJ for you. Always putting down the Philly teams. I'm like kidding, but um, um, Jimmy Butler can come back to Philly now because he's friends with good friends with Joel Embiid. I could see that happening, but Jimmy Butler's like 34, I believe. So he doesn't have much left in the tank, I would think. I mean, you know, it's making up for a mistake 4 or 5 years too late, in my opinion, because think about it. It was either him or Tobias Harris. And whoever was the GM or giving out the contracts at the time, um, it was not um, the guy that's in Philly now. Well, what I mean. I'm drawing a blank here, but you get the idea. It wasn't him. It was, I believe, it was Colangelo who uh, who had Jimmy Butler go to Miami, and Miami would always beat up on the Sixers when the games mattered most because guess what? You had a guy who wanted to be here, and the Sixers said, "No, we want Tobias Harris, and we want Ben Simmons." Look where it got us. But the only thing is, if Jimmy Butler does come back to Philadelphia, we know that he is a Celtics killer. At least he was in that series last year. Um, he was a ligament killer this year because he did hurt his knee in that playing game, I believe it was. But it's. I mean, you have to see everything that's out there, and I don't know everybody that's out there. I'm sure SJ will probably be having article upon article upon article once this series is over, and she wakes up from her um, Celtics championship hangover. Because I know she'll be partying and you know, drinking my share, Mike's shares, uh, Bank Boy's share. Don't jinx it, Joe. But, she is going to drink my share. She's going to drink Mike's share because he's going to ask me to say that to her. Going to drink Bank Boy's share. Going to drink everybody's share who's watching on uh, on X right now, and she's laughing at me. But I think that this is a year where both championship series look like they would be fun and interesting series and may be total shit at the end. And Florida has completely slowed down Edmonton. And in game one, Boston showed their dominance. And, the one thing is with Boston is they seem to let teams hope that they have a chance in game two. They gave up games in the first two rounds on game two at home, but they did win the Indiana game, leading to a sweep. They did win game two the other night. You know, be interesting to see. But if Dallas falls behind early, this could be a quick series because no team has come back from 3-0 in the NBA, even though Boston tried to do it last year. And it looks like it's going to be two series that are have potential to be major disappointments in regards to the competition. Now, SJ will tell me, "How dare you call it a disappointment? My team won." I think she also understands what I'm saying here because of the fact that with me and with Mike, who do not have a horse in the race, um, we just want a good series. And, like for example, the Celtics Pacer series, it was a 4-0 sweep, but it was still a good series. Three of the four games went down to the wire, maybe even all four. But that's what you want. Even if you just want close games, you want competitive games. You know, it just didn't seem like game one was that competitive with Boston, Dallas, at least in my opinion. Even though Dallas teased us and thinking that was going to be a close game, and Boston said, "Oh no, you don't." Game two was a little bit closer, and now that the scene has shifted, you know, and Boston may even be even better on the road than at home. So you may be looking at a sweep there. Now, when it comes to hockey, you know, Florida gets an early lead in game three in Edmonton. That's going to shut that crowd up real quick. And the one thing I am hoping for on Thursday night, and you can look this up on YouTube. Um, there is a video that's on there from the last time Edmonton was in the Stanley Cup final. And uh, uh, I'm going to translate here because SJ was probably typing real fast because the dog was probably farting on her. Gracie has to go poo. Gracie is her dog. And yeah, but the one thing I hope, the one thing is, that crowd is going to be very loud. And I was talking to somebody last night and I said, you know, he was telling me how loud that arena is. And the one thing I said was, like, for example, the um, Seattle Seahawks stadium, that is built for acoustics and making it louder and noise bouncing around all over the place. And I said, I don't know if Edmonton's arena, which is fairly new, I think it's about 10 years old, I don't know if it was built with acoustics in mind where you can get it bouncing off the walls and making it louder and louder, you know, but also the fact that it is a Canadian team in the championship round of the hockey tournament, so to speak. And I know there would be some hockey people that would be saying, how dare you call it a hockey tournament? But technically, it is a tournament. It's four best of seven series, and whoever gets that 16th win gets to hoist the cup and gets to take it on a summer tour. But I really think when you look at it, if maybe Edmonton gets back, gets their legs back, so to speak, because that is a bear of a flight. It's the longest distance between two cities in Stanley Cup final history, like 2,700 miles. But, you really have to, if Florida gets an early lead on Thursday, you could be looking at the same situation as the Celtics, where it could be over quickly. But, thankfully, I didn't put any money on this series because, the one thing I said was take Mavs in six and um, take the Oilers in six. Thank God I didn't, because if I did, I'd probably be saying, "Hey, got any change?" But you really have to. I mean, you really have to wonder: is this the beginning of the end of both of these series and the total thrust into the spotlight for Major League Baseball? Um, because I just want a good series. If your teams are involved, like SJ Celtics are, you want your team to win and win as quickly as possible. As painless as possible. You know, and Mike can attest to this. Nothing is easy for us in Philly. Um, um, Mike says, "I don't mind seeing a sweep as long as the games are competitive." That's what that Boston Indiana series was. Three of the four games were right there, um, and uh, you know, and I think Mike agrees with me that you don't want two sweeps where they're non-competitive. I think that's what he's saying about that. So, um, but but if that's the case, we fall to baseball, where the Phillies now have a 10-game lead in the National League East, and it's the third time that they've had a 10. It's the fourth time that they've had a 10-game lead in the division, and each time that they've done it, they have won the division. First time was in 1976. They had a 10-game lead in 1993, right around this date in 1993. And they did it in 2011, where they got red hot in August, and they won that 102 games. And Charlie Manuel showed that he is special ed. He could have, um, but and like Mike says, things are not easy for Philly fans. We never have nice things. Uh, the last nice thing we had was that parade in 2018 when after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that's where Jason Kelsey became a legend. Um, but you know, but also um, tomorrow's article is going to be a race from Delaware Park. I believe it's a race that's on the turf. Let me just double check that here for you. And I believe mhm, Okay. Um, I believe that I have found a hack. Yeah, Delaware Park race 7 is a race that's on the turf. Um, Weather should be good, so that will be a race that's on the turf. You have 11 horses, 10 will go because the 11 horses on the is main track only. So um, here's a story from Bleacher Brothers I saw, and um, this was a interesting story here. We're going to wait for the status update on Gracie, SJ's dog. Um, TNT Sports has reached a 10-year deal to carry the French Open beginning next year. Um, Warner Brothers discovering the French Tennis Federation made official on Tuesday would have been revealed over the weekend. The French Open will air on TNT Sports in the United States beginning next year. Noah Eagle announced the end of NBC's coverage on Sunday that TNT Sports would be the new home. It's a 10-year agreement, $65 million per year, sizable jump from the $12 million a year the French Tennis Federation had received from NBC and the Tennis Channel. And TNT has their streaming partnership with Max and all that. So, but TNT Sports has slowly built um, a little uh, a little sports network here, even though they're going to be losing the NBA after next year. Um, they have two college football playoff games coming in December, on December 21st. They're going to have four NASCAR races beginning next year. And, uh, but the NBA is up in the air right now. That's what they say on this article here. Um, but they're also getting the French Open for 10 years. And, the great thing about that is once you get into the NCAA tournament, you can start promoting that stuff. So, you know, because, I would imagine that, maybe we see, um, who knows, maybe we see something on CBS, but 65 million, I imagine that's going to uh, boost the purses in France as well because, um, they're building something there at TNT right now, and who knows, maybe they still get the NBA. It doesn't look like it, but you never know. So, um, and I closed that, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay. And I'm just peeking at one thing here before we call it a stream here. Um, okay, so I just wanted to check one thing here. So, um, uh, your shirt is perfect. Yeah, you knew about this shirt a long time ago because I think I wore it a couple years ago to the Kentucky Derby, but I couldn't have it totally out because Harrah's is the casino that would probably still. Um, we are back. Yeah, so SJ brought the dog back, and hopefully the dog is empty now. But you know, but I don't know. It's just that time of the night with me. So, um, somewhat, yeah. I know. I've heard story. I remember the stories, but so um, so Phillies win, Braves lose. Phillies have a 10-game lead in the division. JT's out for a month at least. I would say 4 to 8 weeks. That basically puts everything together. Christian McCaffrey's your NFL Madden NFL 25 athlete. Joey Chestnut's banned uh, from Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Rory's McIlroy's going back with his wife, and all that other stuff that we talked about. So, um, so now that SJ is back, she's safe at home. The dog is. Um, I think you were on the call at the time when I talked about that. This is from a little while ago. It's a couple hours ago. An attorney representing Rory McIlroy filed a motion Tuesday to voluntarily dismiss the the petition filed on the golfer's behalf last month. He reconciled with his wife. Case is closed according to court records. Um, 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 the initial court filing was May 13th, 3 days before the PGA Championship. I imagine there's going to be another court filing before the Open Championship in the UK. But there's and there was different rumors I heard as well, and SJ can have a bit of a potty mouth or two, even though she uh, went with chat lingo there as opposed to the actual words for FFS. But um, you know, that's what this is about. It's about having fun and spread the word. We're going to be 3 nights a week: Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. 9 o'clock start. I started a couple of minutes late tonight because of the fucking ice cream truck parked right outside my window. I can imagine if I went out into the hallway, I can imagine some smart ass kid doing the Eddie Murphy saying, "You ain't got no ice cream. You didn't get none. You didn't get none." And SJ asked if I got anything. Um, that's a loaded question. We know we're talking ice cream here and not about other things. But I didn't get any ice cream you know, because knowing my luck, because this is the way I am with certain things, and it's not just with ice cream. And there we see SJ saluting Michael J. Fox on the day after his birthday, shaking her head. Uh, but I did not get any ice cream because you know I'm the type of person who goes out late and I'm going and right at right at the window and he pulls off because that's me. But then again, I am fat, you know, not ho you fat uh, the G League or international international superstar, but you know I don't need any ice cream. You know I'm trying to be careful with what I eat and all that. So But we were delayed. We had a ice cream truck delay tonight. So, but that's a great thing about not being on, um, not being where we are with Bleacher Brothers right now. Um, I did get the clearance from AJ because I don't want to say too much, but I do know a couple things that are going on. And I'd rather just not say it in public, especially because this shit gets archived. Um, but I do know there are several things going on that'll lead to me doing that fourth night on Wednesday nights, and once that fourth night happens and everything comes to fruition, um, I will have to start at 9 o'clock with that ice cream truck going in the background, and you'll make fun of me having paper mache walls here, even though you would hit the wall with your hand and it is solid cement, but whatever. So I didn't get my ice cream, and that's okay. But thankfully, nobody said, "You ain't got no ice cream. You didn't get none. You didn't get none." And I can imagine SJ would be singing that to me nonstop in the future now. You ain't got no ice cream. Shut up. But, anyways, um, now Mike would do that because just the way that we roll. But so keep an eye out for the latest article, Quills Picks Winners. I'll be posting that tomorrow morning, maybe a little bit later than 11:30 when I post it, only because I'm off tomorrow. But I'll do it before I start doing a couple of things before I go out tomorrow afternoon. And tomorrow's penny pack, so no show tomorrow. But we'll be back here Thursday night, 9 o'clock, on Twitch, on YouTube, on X, on Y, on Z, on PDQ, you name it. Anyways, do want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Even SJ. No, I'm only kidding. I always enjoy her being here. I like picking on her as well. So that's it for now. And I will catch you Thursday night, 9 o'clock, right here on Twitch, on X, and on YouTube. And just a reminder, we are part of Bleacher Brothers here. Check out bleacherbrothers.com for all your needs, any sport, including horse racing. So have a great night, everybody, and we will catch you on Thursday. Good night, everybody.